Remember as a kid how the dark scared you? How you thought that every little shadow was a monster ready to devour you? How you thought the monsters could get to you? Well, actually, it's the opposite. The darkness protects you. The monsters are as blind as you are in the dark. You might ask yourself how I came to this hypothesis. It started when I was young. At the time, I was terrified of the dark. See, the reason for this was, at age 5, I had just moved into my childhood home. It was very large and was easy to get lost within it in the dark of the night. We had moved into the house. It had been about a week, so there were many rooms I hadn't explored yet. Unfortunately, the only time I was really able to explore, without my parents worrying about where I was during the night, under the cover of darkness. While I was terrified of the dark, my curiosity was stronger than my fear. Besides, I had a flashlight. One night, I was headed out of my room to do my routine nighttime exploration. I had lost my flashlight last night when I heard my dad waking up and headed to the bathroom. I remembered where I had dropped it in my hasty retreat to my room and headed in that direction. It was about 5 minutes into the search that I noticed something was off. I heard a strange wheezing coming from the corner of the room. I seized. The wheezing was labored and pained. Even as a little kid, I knew that wasn't normal. I hid behind the wall, hoping the whatever that was didn't hear or see me. Every fiber in my body wanted to turn on the light, to expose this thing to its mortal enemy. But I couldn't reach the light switch, and I still hadn't found the flashlight. So I sat there in the dark, listening to its pained breathing. I'm not really sure how, but I fell asleep. I dreamt of a horrible monster whose body was stuck to the wall with some sort of organic substance. I've never seen anything more horrifying before or since. It was just a torso coming out of the wall. Its eyes were just black voids, and its teeth were more like needles. And its skin looked like it was rotting and barely hanging on. Its arms were impossibly long and bony, and it had me in its grasp. I squirmed and screamed, but nothing broke the creature's grip. It began to whisper in my ear. I still remember its voice. It was like a whisper, a deep, guttural whisper. It told me how the dark was actually my friend, that it protected me from things like it, that it shrouded me in darkness, making me invisible to it. It said that in the light it can see me, it can harm me. When I awoke, I was in a state of shock. I completely ignored my parents and siblings looking over me. The only thing that I saw was the writing on the wall that said, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn the light on?" It was mocking me, knowing well that since it was the day, he could be anywhere. The first thing I shouted was, "Turn off the lights!" to my family. They tried to calm me down and convince me that it was just a dream. But I knew better. I knew that what I had experienced was all too real. Ever since that day, the slightest sliver of the sun's light will send me into a panic attack. I only go out into the light when I absolutely have to. I was homeschooled, and I only let in enough light from the outside of my room to see what my work was for that day. When I moved out of my childhood home, I did it all in one night. I was exhausted, sure, but I'd do a whole lot more if it meant keeping that thing away. Now that I don't live in my parents' house, I don't go to the doctor, I don't go on dates, I haven't showered in months. It's hard to see the knobs that turn the water on in the dark, despite my adaptation to it. The only stores I go to are 24/7 convenience stores, because their lights are always dimmed. I can still see the thing in the corner next to the freezer, its bony fingers extending to the floor, crawling quickly to get me. It's been a long time since I paid for anything. Did I mention my house is just an old rotting cabin in the woods near town? I've robbed every convenience store in this city at least twice. I can't get a job, though. That would mean seeing that thing every day get closer and closer to me. Every time I step into the light, I see it. Now it's getting stronger and forming legs. It can't walk yet. Not right now. But it will soon. I haven't robbed the store in about a month, and I'm out of food. I know the employees will recognize me and call the police, putting me into a dimly lit jail cell. I had to do something. That's why I'm writing this in broad daylight. The last thing I should do before it gets me is let someone know about it. I'm leaving this on the porch of my childhood home. I'm sorry about the handwriting. The light hurts my eyes. I've been sitting here on my old porch for around an hour. It's right behind me now, digging its sharp, jagged nails into my arm. It's toying with me before it takes me. He's making me write this. Please, don't go out into the light. 'Cause now that you know of his existence, he'll come after you next. Trust me when I tell you, you would rather go blind than look into its black voids it calls eyes.